designing with grasses, and I wanted to help you with the questions that you'll need to ask in order to find the proper grass for your area. So if you said, I want to add a few grasses to my yard, the first thing I'd ask you is how much sun are you going to, is this plant going to receive? 6 hours of sun is considered full sun, but it's really important that you plant the plant that's correct for that particular location. So sun is a very important thing to know about it, where you're going to plant the plant. Another thing I'd ask you is how much water is it going to receive? It will need water the first year for sure. But if it's in a drought situation where, like a hail strip, and you aren't going to water it, then that's really important to know so we can steer you to a grass that will thrive in that type of situation. The next question is very important, and that is what function will it have? Is it going to be a screen? Is it going to be around a pond, along a path? What do you want that grass to accomplish? Maybe it's just strictly a drift of beautiful seed heads. Whatever it is, that will make a difference in the type of grass that we choose. And then how tall? You know, if you want to block out your neighbor's bathroom window, then you might need something 10 feet tall. But if you just want a little tiny, beautiful evergreen grass along your pathway, then something shorter will do. Then we need to talk about form, because there are all different types of form that goes along with the height as well. But this is a little short moundy grass. There are short grasses that just form a tight little mound. There are arching grasses, and then there are the ones that are really strictly upright. So you need to know what form you prefer. And then another thing that I think is important is what color is your house, especially if you're going to be painting it the next couple of years. It's important that you find a grass that doesn't clash with the color of your paint if it's going to be near the house. There are so many different colors of grasses. You can choose one that will go really well with what you're putting it next to. So, do you have any questions about that so far? If not, then I'll move into the families of grasses. We'll talk about some different cultivars, ones that I particularly like and where they will do well. So since we have the cool season grasses up here, we'll start with those. First of all, the carex is a large family. They're actually sedges. When I talk about grasses, I'm including the sedges and rushes as well. This is probably one that you're very familiar with. This is called Bull's Golden. It's Carex aurea, and it gets about this tall, about 19 inches tall, and it has green on the edges, which is how you will know it's a Bull's Golden. And it has quite a bit of light in the shade. It needs afternoon shade and quite a bit of water. But the one I am so thrilled about is this one called Nightshades. It's a cousin of Bull's Golden. But this one only gets about 16 inches tall, and it's really a bright lime green. Foliage is a little bit finer, and when you plant this in the shade, this takes a little bit more shade than Bull's Golden. It's just like a little spotlight out there. It's so bright and green. Oh, sorry. It has a nice little weeping habit, but the color is just phenomenal. And then this is another carex called Sparkler. This is one you don't see in the trade very often, but it's really an unusual grass. It has these whorls, and it makes a great container plant. This actually is evergreen in a mild climate. We have this in our atrium, and it's evergreen. So if you have a really protected place, and the winter's not too harsh, it does remain evergreen. But in a pot, this gets about 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide. It makes this great mound of this bright variegated foliage. Is really quite stunning. And then I talked about this carex somewhat. This is called Gold Band. And this is the clumping form of ice dance. Just practically indestructible and grow in any situation, even full sun if it has water. Another cool season grass, Lazula sylvatica aurea because it has that gold lime green foliage. Very interesting growth habit. It just does cover up other foliage. The bulbs can come through this without any problem at all. And In February, it's just beautiful. So bright, lime green.
Black hellebore.
Big pardon?
Beautiful with black hellebore.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. My black hellebores were. That would be a great combination, actually. Yes, that would be stunning with black hellebores. It does have little black blooms on it, actually, that come up about late February, early March. The blooms aren't anything to write home about, but they have a little interest. And this particular one is Helictotricon. It's sapphire, which is supposed to be more resilient to the rust. This is a blue oak grass. It's about this tall, maybe 24 inches at the most. Has rounded foliage. It comes out in a big mound. And in June, the inflorescences come up about 3 feet tall. They're very wheat looking, kind of dangle a little bit too, but they're wheat colored. And they will last all summer, even though this is a spring blooming. You'll have it all summer and into the winter before you need to cut them off. Let's stick with these guys. Isn't this a cutie? Yeah, this is a real cutie you don't see very often. This is China lovegrass. It's an Arabrosis habilis. It has this rather thick foliage, coarse foliage, but in the fall it is absolutely covered with that pink frothy bloom, and it's so great in the drift. It's just this wonderful, light, airy look to it. And I have two Calamagrostis. You're probably familiar with Carl Forster, which was the perennial of the year in 2001. Well, this is its cousin that is called Calamagrostis brachytrica, which is another word for Korean feathergrass. Easier to remember. Now, this, in contrast to Carl Forster that blooms in the spring, it blooms in May or early June. This one blooms in September with the exact same inflorescence. They're fluffy and they're greenish purple. But in contrast to Carl Forster, this remains fluffy. It doesn't tighten up like Carl Forster does. And it has great fall color, kind of a goldish orange color. It gets very full, unlike Carl Forster, which is very columnar. This one is very vase-shaped and absolutely covered with these blooms. It's really quite effective. If you have a 4 by 4 foot area, that's terrific. And then this one is a brand new cultivar. Well, brand new in the last couple of years. It's called El Dorado. And there are a couple of white variegated forms, Dam and Avalanche, but this is the first yellow variegated form. Now, as you can see, this one is kind of more wheaty than Carl Forster is as well, but oh my gosh, the fact that the leaves turn over and have the gold centers catches the light and reflects the sun, so it's really quite effective, as the same seed has as the Carl Forster. So that one's called El Dorado. Now, these are the Japanese forest grass plants. Some of us have a little difficulty. Oh my gosh, there's a slug in there. I'll figure right on it. Okay. Most of us have difficulty pronouncing this right, but if you think about the fact that it's a common name other than Japanese forest grass, it's a coney grass. So if you say Hakone Cloa, then you've got it. So I just brought a couple of cultivars that I thought would be interesting. This is a relatively new one called Benikaza. It's all green in the summer, so it'll take a little bit more sun than Oriola does. And its claim to fame is that it has this reddish tinge in the fall. It's a little bit taller than Oriola does as well. Then this is the white variegation called Albostriata. And this one also has the pink variegation in the fall, although it doesn't say anything about it in any of the literature, so I think it's pretty interesting. But this with white variegation also can take more sun than Oriola. It's a little bit taller, a little bit more robust than Oriola.